Okay, we are on the next clean page in our notebooks, and we are ready for today's notes. So today, at the top, we are writing 6.5 divide by a 2-digit whole number, and today's date of 11/18/20. Voices should be off. Thank you, Mackenzie. All right. So 6.5 divide by a 2-digit whole number, 11/18/20. Give me a thumbs up on your desk when you have today's title and date at the top. Awesome. Thank you, Frankie and Michael, Elena, Layla, Allison, Emmy, and Senna, and Will, and Mackenzie, and Chanel, and Addie, and Grayson, and Eosius, and Richie, and Drew, I think. And Jack L, I think. You're not quite. Yeah? Okay. So I'll give you another moment. I see a few people finishing them up. Michael, by your desk, dude. And Jack P. All right. So, are we ready to move on? Awesome. Philip, are you ready to move on? Okay. So, like I said, today is going to be very similar to yesterday, but instead of dividing by a 1-digit whole number, we will be dividing by a 2-digit whole number. So, remember, we're going to put this reminder at the top. You can add as many zeros as you need to the end of a decimal number. So I have that hashtag to represent the word number. Now, I underlined the word end. Why do you think I underlined the word end? Frankie?
This isn't about the end thing, but it's about,
Yes.
Why does it say on the title divided by a 2-digit whole number, but then there's decimal?
Because the number we're dividing by is a whole number, but the number we're dividing is a decimal. Just like yesterday. Okay, we were dividing by whole numbers, but we were dividing up a decimal number. Why do you think I underlined the word end? Allison? Well, to make it stand out. Why would I want to make that stand out? Layla?
You can't add in which they contain the decimal because then it's just going to make the number larger.
Exactly. I can't just randomly add a zero anywhere I want in a decimal number. I can't stick it between 2 digits that are already there. I can't move it somewhere else. It can only go on the end of the decimal number, all the way to the right. Because if we add it on the end, it doesn't change the value of the number. But we can add those zeros to bring down when we're dividing so that we can get our full answer. So yes, you can add as many zeros as you need to the end of a decimal number, but nowhere else. Just the end, all the way to the right. Give me a thumbs up when you have this reminder written down in your notes. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Allison, and Layla, Addie, Elena, Jack L, Grayson, Senna, Jack P, Emmy, Chanel, Will, Eosius, Richie, Frankie, I'll give you another moment. I see a few people finishing up through. All right. Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we're going to get right into an example problem today. So, our example problem is 15 3/10 divided by 18. So you can see we're taking a decimal number and we're dividing it by a whole number that has 2 digits. Not yet. Yep, that's an 18. 15 3/10 divided by 18. No. I just do it because it's, yeah, then you guys can see it easier. Yeah. Yep. So example, 15 3/10 divided by 18. Give you another moment. I see a few people finishing up writing that problem down. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
All right. Is there anyone who needs more time?
No.
Okay. So what we're going to do for today, we're going to write the steps to the left and our problem to the right. That way we can have space all the way to the right. So you guys, our steps are just like yesterday. So step 1, set up the problem. And notice how I left this space over here to actually solve the problem. So when you get to about this part of your notebook, go down to the next line for the steps if you need to. So step 1, set up the problem, which I've already done. Step 2 will then be to solve/divide and add zeros to the end of 15.3 if needed. So as you're dividing, as you're solving, if you get to a point where you need to add a zero, that's when you add a zero to the right, all the way at the end. And number 3, raise the decimal up into the quotient. So just like yesterday, when you're solving, you're ignoring the decimal until the very end. Now, before you start to actually solve it, there's something I want to point out to you. So don't start to solve it yet. Just give me a thumbs up when you have it set up and you have the steps written down. There's one thing I want to point out to you before you solve. So thumbs up when you have the steps down and you have the problem set up, but you have not solved it yet. Thank you, Layla. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Addie. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you, Emmy. Thank you, Yosius. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sana. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Mackenzie. Guys are doing great. Give me another moment or two. I see some people finishing up writing the steps. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Jack L. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you, Elena. One more moment. I see a few people on the very last step. Thank you, Philip. All right, so 5th grade, what I wanted to point out to you, when you look at how I set up our problem, did I stop, we draw our line up and then across. Did I stop my line here right after the 3?
No.
I extended it. Why did I do that? Raise your hand. Why did I do that? Richie, why did I do that?
Just in case you have to add zeros.
Just in case I have to add zeros. I asked you guys yesterday if you had ever noticed that when I set up my division problems, I always make it longer. And some of you are like, yeah, Missy, I'm not sure why you did that. Because I've already learned about adding zeros onto the end, so I automatically make that line longer in case I need to add zeros. So if you did not make the line up top longer, I would like you to do that. I want you to get in the habit of doing that whenever you divide. Make the line a little bit longer. Perfect. Then, once you've made the line longer, go ahead and solve. I will know you are done when I see a thumbs up on your desk, or I see you quietly reading, writing, or drawing. Start at the beginning. How many times does 18 go into? Start at that. Okay.
And what helped me is using my resources.
All right, so our voices should be off. People are concentrating. Ready to rock? All right. We are going to look at this together. So, whatever you're working on, set it to the side. Thank you for being patient as I was helping some people. Okay, I'm going to grab my brush blue pen. Okay, so I know this one was a little tricky because it can be hard sometimes when, the number we're dividing by, it doesn't go into the first digit, it doesn't go into the first two digits, but then it does go into the first three digits. I know that can be hard to do in our head sometimes. So 18 can't go into 1, can't go into 15. It can go into 153. Show me on both of your hands, how many times does 18 go into 153? It goes in 8 times. 8 times. 8 times. What is 18 times 8? Who can raise their hand and tell me? What is 18 times 8? What is it, Chanel? Who agrees with Chanel? 144. Yes, it is 144. So we would subtract 144. Now I can't do 3 minus 4, so I would borrow from the 5. That would become a 4. Add a 1 onto my 3. 13 minus 4 is 9. Now, do I have to stop here? No. A 0. Remember, I can add as many zeros as I need to the end of a decimal number. So this is a decimal number. The end is all the way to the right, so I can add a 0. Bring it down. That becomes 90. How many times does 18 go into 90? Show me on your hand. Show me on your hand. 18 goes into 90 5 times. Yep, and 18 times 5 is 90. So I would subtract 90, wind up with 0. For my decimal, it's just like yesterday. It goes straight up. And because I have nothing to the left of the decimal, I need to have a 0. I know, there's a little 4, so I'm drawing over it. So, 85 hundredths is my answer. How many of you got 85 hundredths as your answer? Okay. How many of you maybe made a silly mistake when you were doing this? Yep, that happens. That totally happens. How many of you understand the process, though, even if you made a silly mistake? It's just like yesterday, except it's with a 2-digit whole number. Okay. What we're going to do next are some practice problems. So practice, we have 3 practice problems. So go ahead, label your practice section. In 5th grade, my reminder to you is when you are setting up these practice problems, make sure you're extending that line up above the dividend a little longer than the number, so that if you add zeros, you're still covered by that line. Okay. Here are your practice problems. As soon as you're done writing them, you can solve them. I will know you are done if I see you quietly waiting with a thumbs up, or you are quietly reading, writing, or drawing. Capiche? All right. Here are your 3 practice problems. So number 1 is 3 9/10 divided by 15. Number 2 is 91 8/10 divided by 27. And number 3 is 247 5/10 divided by 50. So as soon as you have these written down, you can start to solve them. Don't forget to extend that top line when you're setting them up a little longer than the dividend, in case you have to add zeros. Go ahead and solve when you're ready. Ready to rock. All right, fifth grade, let's take a look at these together. Thank you for being patient. Those of you who got done a little while ago. Some people needed some more time to get through these. So nice job of being respectful and working your way through this. Let's look at it together. Let's look at it together. So if you are reading, please place your books to the side. If you're writing or drawing, also put that to the side. And let's look at these two together, or three together. So, first of all, I'm going to set up my problem. Now I know, since we're dealing with decimals, when I set up my problem, I need to make sure I'm extending that line longer than the actual number in case I need to add zeros. So, 15 can't go into 3, but it can go into 39 2 times. So I put a 2 above my 9. 15 times 2 is 30, so I would subtract 30. 39 minus 30 is 9. What number is always here for me?
0.
A 0. So I'm going to add a 0 onto the end, bring it down. 15 goes into 90 how many times? Show me on your hands. Show me on your hands. How many times does 15 go into 90? It goes in 6 times, because if we count 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. So 6 times. 15 times 6 is 90. So subtract 90, get a 0. I bring my decimal straight up, and then I need to add a 0 in front of it. So 26 hundredths is the answer that I got. How many of you got 26 hundredths for the first problem? 26 hundredths for the first problem. Awesome. Hands down. Richie, put your book to the side, and Philip, put your book to the side. I know they're great, but we need to follow along with this. Our second one, same thing when I'm setting it up. I need to make sure I'm making that line longer than the actual number, than 91.8. Okay, this one I think it tripped up a few people. So 27, can it go into 9? No. Can it go into 91? Yes. Show me on your hand how many times does 27 go into 91? It goes in 3 times. 27 goes into 91 3 times. And 27 times 3 is 81, correct? Okay. So then I'm going to subtract 81. I wind up with 10, and then I bring down my 8, 108. 27 goes into 108 how many times? Show me on your hand. How many times does 27 go into 108? It goes in 4 times. Because remember, 27 went into 91 3 times for 81. You can probably fit it in one more, and we can. 27 times 4 is 108. So I'm going to subtract 108. I get 0. Bring my decimal straight up between the 3 and the 4 for 3 and 4 tenths. Raise your hand if you got 3 and 4 tenths as your answer. All right. Then our third one. Michael, at your desk, please. Again, when I'm setting it up, I need to make sure the line is longer than 247.5. 247.5. Okay, so for this one, can 50 go into 2?
No.
Can it go into 24?
No.
Can it go into 247?
Yes.
Show me on your hand how many times. How many times? It goes in 4 times. So above the 7, I'm putting my 4. 50 times 4 is 200. So I'm going to subtract 200. 247 minus 200 is 47. Then I bring down my 5. How many times does 50 go into 475? How many times does it go in? 50 going into 475? How many times? I'm seeing 9s and 8s. What do we think, 9 or 8? It is 9. It is 9 because 50 times 10 would be 500. So you take 1 away from that, it is 450. Yeah. So 50 times 9 is 450. 475 minus 450 is 25. What imaginary number is here, you guys? 0. Add my 0. Bring it down. How many times does 50 go into 250, 5th grade? 5 times. 50 times 5 is 250. I got 0. Bring up my decimal for 4 and 95 hundredths. Oop, I cut off my 4 a little bit. 4 and 95 hundredths. Raise your hand if you got 4 and 95 hundredths for the third one. All right. All right, 5th grade, quickly, I'd like you to close your eyes. You're going to anonymously show me how you're feeling about this. Close your eyes. I know it's trickier when we have a 2-digit number we're dividing by, so I want to know how you're feeling. Think about taking a decimal number and dividing it by a 2-digit whole number. Show me 1 through 5 how you are feeling about that. Show me in your hand. How are you feeling? Eyes should be closed. Eyes should be closed. Okay. Hands down. I'm going to ask you another question. How many of you are feeling a little less confident because you've been noticing you're making silly mistakes? Okay. So raise your hand if you understand the process. You understand the steps you need to take to get the answer. Okay. But maybe you've been making okay. And open your eyes. Now I want to point out to everyone that in your planner, and Layla actually has this out and open. In your planner, and I saw some people doing this, at the back, if you flip in a couple pages, you have a multiplication chart that goes all the way to the number 20. You can't use this on your test, but if this will help you on your homework, not make lots of silly mistakes, you can have this open next to your workbook as you're doing tonight's homework. So make sure you are using this. I'm going to give this one of the documents for our virtual learners. So my virtual learners as well, in your planner towards the back, you notice you're making silly mistakes? You have this multiplication chart in your planner that goes all the way to 20. So this can help you while you are doing your math homework, while you're dividing. So this is on page 124. 124. Oh my gosh. 124 of your planner. All right, ready to rock? Okay, so 5th grade. I want you to have your workbook out. I'm going to tell you what your homework is.
229, 230.
All right, you are opening up to page 329.
Gave her the idea.
Jack. We are on page 329 of our workbooks. 329. 329. All right, you should be circling number 4, number 10, number 12. Hey, voices. Number 14 and number 19. I will repeat it. So we're on page 329. You should have circled number 4, number 10, number 12, number 14, and number 19. I will give you a couple minutes to work. What should our volume level be during this time? A 0. So go ahead, you can start working.